Today I want to show you how to knit a blanket that I am naming Oscar, and if you ever watched Sesame Street as a child, you'll get the hint as to where I got the inspiration for the name from. Oscar is an 8-row repeat, nice and short, and unlike some of my more recent blankets where I've used garter stitch to separate my stockinette stitch sections, with this one it is all stockinette with these lovely little striped pieces of texture running all the way up your blanket, so it gives nice clean lines and plenty of texture. My sample blanket here is 60 centimetres wide by 80 centimetres long, and my instructions will tell you how to replicate the size of this blanket. I've also left instructions as to how you can adapt the size if you want to make it bigger or use a different weight yarn. To make a blanket the same as my sample blanket here, you are going to need 400 grams of double knit yarn. If you're not in the UK, then equivalent weight yarns are light worsted weight, 3-weight yarn or 6-ply yarn. You are also going to need some 4mm circular needles, and you want these needles to be at least 100 centimetres long so that you can accommodate all your stitches. It's also handy to have by you a tapestry needle and some scissors just for sorting out your ends when you change ball. And then last but definitely not least, you want 2 stitch markers, and we're going to use these to mark where our side borders start and end and where our middle textured panel is. It just makes life easier when you're knitting your rows because you can see that difference nice and clearly. I like to give you the pattern multiple for the middle textured panel of my blankets separately to the stitches that you need to cast on for your edges. That just gives you the freedom to adjust or change the border and still know what that core pattern multiple is for that middle textured panel. In the case of Oscar, that pattern multiple is 10 plus 3. So you are going to cast on a number that is a multiple of 10. Then you are going to add on 3 final stitches, and then once you've done that you need to add 18 stitches. That is 9 stitches for each side border. If you're wanting to replicate my sample blanket, you are going to need to cast on a total of 131 stitches. That number includes the 18 stitches that will make up your 2 side borders. For this tutorial, I'm just going to cast on a very small sample, and I'm going to be using the long tail cast on method simply because it's my preferred method of casting on. If you have a method of casting on that you prefer, please feel free to use that. It will still work. This blanket is knitted all in one piece from bottom to top. So the first section that we need to cover is that bottom garter stitch border, and that consists of 15 rows worked in exactly the same way. So I'm going to walk you through row 1, and then I'm going to leave you to go away and work rows 2 to 15 yourself. As our bottom border is made up of garter stitch, it's worked nice and simply. In fact, every stitch in the row, with the exception of the final stitch in the row, is worked in exactly the same way. So to start your first row of your border, you want to knit all the way across your row until you have just 1 stitch left to work. That stitch is our selvage stitch, and we use a slightly different technique for that final stitch just to give a really nice neat edge all the way up the long side of our blanket. To finish off each row, you are going to slip this final stitch purlwise with the yarn in front. So with this technique, the first thing that you want to do is to get your yarn to the front of your work. For me, as a continental knitter, I just lift and hold that yarn with my right hand needle, but if you want to lift it all the way to the front, then that's fine too. Once you've got your yarn to the front of your work, you're going to pop this right hand needle into the stitch from right through to left, so as if you were going to purl the stitch. You don't want to pop it in the other way as if to knit, because you'll twist the stitch and we don't want to do that. Once you're confident that this stitch is firmly on your right hand needle, you can take your left hand needle out, and if like me you have held that yarn with your right hand needle, you want to make sure to lift it over the needle so it's at the front of your work, because if you don't and you turn and carry on knitting, you're likely to increase your row by 1 stitch, and you really don't want that to happen. So that's the first row of our border done. I'm going to leave you now to work rows 2 to 15, and I will rejoin you at the end of our garter stitch border to show you how we work that main textured panel that forms the bulk of this blanket. Now that we've finished this bottom garter stitch border, I'm going to walk you through the 8 rows that form the pattern repeat for the middle textured panel of this blanket. And the first time we work row 1, we're going to do a little bit of setup work just to get our stitch markers in place, but every other time we work it after this first time, you're just going to slip your markers instead of placing them. Row 1 and all the odd numbered rows form the right side of our work, so every time you are working an odd numbered row, you should have the right side of your work facing up at you. You're going to start row 1 by knitting 9 stitches. Once you've done that, you're going to grab the first of your 2 stitch markers and pop it onto your right hand needle. Now you're going to carry on and knit until you have 9 stitches left to knit in the row, so that will be when you have 9 stitches left on this left hand needle. Once you get to this point, you are going to get the second of your 2 stitch markers and again pop it onto your right hand needle. Now you want to carry on and knit 8 more stitches, which should leave you with just 1 stitch left to work in the row. Just like with our bottom garter stitch border, you are going to slip this final stitch purlwise with the yarn in front. Start row 2 by knitting 9 stitches. This is also a good point to check that you have your stitch marker in the right place, because after your 9th stitch you should hit that first stitch marker. Slip the stitch marker over and then you want to purl your way across your row until you hit your second stitch marker. Slip that second marker over and then knit the next 8 stitches. Finish the row by slipping that final stitch purlwise with the yarn in front. Row 3 is a repeat of row 1, so you are going to knit your way all the way across your row. Don't forget to slip your stitch markers over from one needle to the next as you come to them, and then for that very last stitch in the row you are going to slip it purlwise with the yarn in front. Row 4 marks the halfway point of our repeat and is also the first row that is going to introduce that texture onto the right side of your work. Start row 4 by knitting the first 9 stitches. Slip your marker over and then you are going to purl 3 stitches. Now you're going to jump into a nice simple 10 stitch repeat that you're going to repeat all the way along your row until you hit this second marker, and that 10 stitch repeat goes as follows. You are going to knit 7 and then purl 3. And if you count your stitches correctly as you work across your row, you should hit your second marker after a purl 3. Slip that second marker over and then knit 8 more stitches. Last but not least, you're going to slip your last stitch purlwise with the yarn in front. Just like row 1 and 3, row 5 is a nice simple row. You are going to knit your way across your row, slip your stitch markers as you get to them, and for the final stitch in the row, don't forget that that's our selvage stitch, and you want to slip that purlwise with the yarn in front. Row 6 starts by knitting the stitches before your first stitch marker. Slip that first marker over and then you are going to purl your way across your row until you hit your second marker. Slip your second marker over and then knit 8 stitches. That should leave you with just your selvage stitch to work, and you are going to slip it purlwise with the yarn in front. For row 7, you are going to knit your way all the way across your row, slip those stitch markers as you get to them, and then finish your row by slipping that final stitch purlwise with the yarn in front. Row 8 is the last row of our repeat and is also a row that adds texture to the front of our work. You want to start by knitting the first 9 stitches. Slip that first stitch marker over when you get to it, and then you're going to purl the next 8 stitches. Now, just like with row 4, you're going to jump into a 10 stitch repeat, but on this occasion you are going to repeat those 10 stitches until 5 stitches before your second marker, and those 10 stitches are as follows. You are going to knit 7, and then purl 3. And you keep repeating those blocks of 10 until you get to 5 stitches before your second marker, and that should be after you work a purl 3. The 5 stitches before your second marker are purl stitches, so you are going to work purl 5, and that should take you to your second marker. Slip the marker over and then knit 8 stitches. Last but not least, you're going to slip your final stitch purlwise with the yarn in front. These 8 rows form the building blocks of our blanket, and you will repeat these over and over until your blanket is about 5 centimetres shorter than you want your overall blanket to be. So you will now go back to row 1 and work through to row 8 and so on and so forth. If you want to replicate the same blanket I made, you're going to want to repeat rows 1 to 8 a total of 31 times. So that means after this first initial block of 8 rows, you're going to repeat them 30 more times. Once you have done that and you are ready to start thinking about your top garter stitch border, before you move on to that, so that you get symmetry top and bottom, you want to repeat rows 1 to 7 from the repeat once more. So you would just work one final repeat but stop before you work row 8, and that is the point that I will rejoin you to show you how you work that top garter stitch border. Your blanket will obviously be significantly bigger than my little sample here, but this gives you an idea of what your blanket should look like before you start your top garter stitch border. You can see here by working rows 1 to 7 once more, the bottom corner here after the garter stitch border matches the top corner here just before the top garter stitch border. So that's what working those 7 rows again achieves. Your top garter stitch border is worked in exactly the same way as your bottom garter stitch border. It also consists of 15 rows, just like the bottom garter stitch border, and just like the bottom garter stitch border, every stitch with the exception of that final stitch in the row is a knit stitch. So you are going to start your row by knitting your way across, and when you hit your stitch markers on this row you can remove them, because now that we're working our top garter stitch border you no longer need to mark where your side borders are, so you can just remove them as you come to them and pop them to one side. And you are just going to knit your way along your row, and then when you get to that very last stitch of the row you are going to slip that stitch purlwise with the yarn in front, just like you have been doing for the rest of the blanket. So that's row 1 of the border done. I'm now going to go away and work rows 2 to 15 off camera, and I will leave you to do the same, and then I'll meet you at the end of row 15 to show you how we work the very last row of this project, our cast off row. I like to use a really simple knitted cast off for my blankets. It's nice and easy to work and I like the way it looks. In this video I'm just going to cover how to do the first few stitches, but if you need a more in-depth tutorial or you're new to the knitted cast off, then I have a whole separate video that covers the technique in really slow beginner friendly steps, and I will link that for you now. The key thing to remember when working a knitted cast off is that you should never have more than 2 stitches on your right hand needle at any one point. If you do, then you've knitted too many and you just need to go back and see what you've done. So to start your cast off row, you are going to knit 2 stitches. When you are working your cast off row, you don't want these stitches to be too tight, otherwise your blanket won't lay flat and it will pull in. So just make sure that you're keeping your tension nice and relaxed when you work these stitches. Once you've knitted 2 stitches, you're going to get your left hand needle and pop it into the first of those 2 stitches from left through to right, and then I find it handy to just pop my index finger on the other stitch so that it doesn't accidentally slip off your right hand needle. Then you're going to pull up on the stitch and lift it up and over the second stitch and off your needle, and you'll find that you've gone from 2 stitches on this right hand needle down to 1. Then you're going to knit 1 more stitch so that you go back up to 2 stitches on that right hand needle, and then you're going to repeat that same process again. Left hand needle in from left through to right, hold that other stitch and lift that stitch up and over the other stitch on your needles and completely off your needles. And you're going to repeat that process of knitting one and lifting one all the way along your row until you have no stitches left on your left hand needle and just one stitch left on this right hand needle. Once you're down to this final stitch on your right hand needle, you can break your yarn. You want to leave yourself a nice amount of tail so that you've got enough yarn to sew your ends in when you're done. And then a final little thing that I like to do just to give a nice secure finish to this final stitch is I lift up to make the stitch bigger, and at this point you can discard your needles. Then you're going to get this loop that's left, pop your finger and thumb through it and pick up your tail, and then pull the tail all the way through the loop. Then you're going to hold your finger and thumb on the corner of your blanket and pull and tighten that extra loop up, and that gives you a nice secure finish, and when you sew in your tails you end up with a lovely neat corner. A couple of final bits and bobs to cover before I leave you to your knitting. I always get asked if a blanket design is reversible, so I find it handy to show you just at the end of the videos. And in the case of Oscar, like with a lot of my blankets, no, it is not a reversible design. If I flip it over, you can see that the reverse is pretty plain looking. It's not messy, it's not untidy, but it just does not have that texture that you have on the front of your work. And that is the case with most blankets that incorporate stockinette stitch like this one. For those of you who like written instructions to follow along to, I of course have a free version of the pattern on my blog that I will link in the description below. And if you want something to print off and take away with you, then I also have links to an ad-free PDF that you can buy for a small fee. Last but not least, I'm going to leave you with another little bit of blanket inspiration.